What's going on, y'all? Today we're gonna do a buyer's guide for the best car, the most reliable car, one of the best cars ever made, the Lexus LS430. Now, y'all probably thought I was gonna say the LS400, but the LS400 is not as nice as the LS430. The LS430 really brought the luxury level up a notch. Well, the LS400 was just it was just an everyday car with leather seats, to be honest. Now, they did spend a lot of money developing it. They did spend a lot of money trying to build the Lexus name brand, but the LS430 is just that much nicer than the LS400. I'm going to tell you why. So, the LS430 came out in 2001, and they made it till 2006. The facelifted model came out in 2004. When you're looking for LS430s, you generally want a facelifted model if you have the budget, but the pre-facelift model has its own look that people desire. The pre-facelift model is also a lot cheaper than the facelift model, and there are only a few differences that I'll go through in a minute. With the facelift model, you can see that most of these pictures on here are actually of the facelift model. The headlights are pointed in the corners. They go down a little bit further, closer to the grille. As you can see right here, this is a pre-facelift model. The headlights are round. A lot of people feel that the pre-facelift model looks more Japanese and the facelift model looks more American. I would have to agree with that statement. I like the look of the pre-facelift model, but I just may be a little biased because I have one. But basically, besides the front end, the rear end is a little bit different. On the facelifted model, the car comes with LED taillights, and with the pre-facelift model, it just comes with regular bulbs. The only difference between the two models mechanically, I believe, is the transmission. The facelifted models come with a 6-speed transmission, and the pre-facelift models come with a 5-speed. The 5-speed is known to be more robust, but the 6-speed gets better gas mileage and is a little bit smoother. Scrolling through, one would want an LS430 because they are the most reliable sedan made on the planet. Based on the LS400, a platform which Toyota invested $1 billion into, the LS430 is just that much better. It rides better, it's bigger, it looks more modern, it has more luxury features. And to be honest, I think this is the best looking LS thus far, and a lot of people can attest to the fact that it's the best built LS. Even better built than the 460. And better built than the 500. Most modern cars aren't built to the same standard that this Lexus was built to. So going to Facebook, when you're shopping for the LS430, there are a couple things you got to keep in mind in terms of repairs. The biggest being the timing belt. So these cars actually need the timing belt replaced after every 70 to 90,000 miles. Most people who are selling their LS do not have the timing belt done, so that's just something you got to keep in mind. Another thing you got to keep in mind, I mentioned this before, but you got to know whether you're going to buy the pre-facelifted model or the facelifted model. Facelifted model usually go from $5,000 and above. Pre-facelifted model probably go from around $3,000 and above. If I'm going to be honest, the prices of these cars have actually been increasing since last year. As with most cars that I've seen, I don't know if there's a general inflation rate increase in the United States, but most of these cars are not going for as cheap as they used to be. I don't know if people are maybe catching on to how good these cars actually are. But ideally, if you're looking for an LS430, you want the latest model year. So you want a facelifted model with low miles. And for these cars, low miles is anything really under 170. You want to get a car that has had the timing belt done recently, so you get a lot of miles out of it before you have to do it again, because it's probably the most extensive job you're gonna have to do on this car. A dealer would probably charge around $800-900 to do the job, parts included. The parts kit is only about $200, so it's that much labor involved. Another problem that I had on mine was the knock sensors actually went bad. And this is also an intensive labor job because you have to remove the intake manifold, get new gaskets and everything. It's probably around a $500 job, parts included. The parts are like $100. So basically, as I said before, you want to get a facelifted model that is a 2004 or later. Most of these 2004s are later, or 2004 and laters are kind of expensive, to be honest. You can see these prices are creeping up a little bit. They used to be in like the 5s for a facelifted model, and now you're looking at 400s that are in the 5s. This 99 right here is in 6s, excuse me. So we want to find a 2004 or later That's in the fives. All right. So right here we have a base level LS, 151,000 miles for 5,500 bucks, 2005. This would be a good example of something you want to look for. You want to look for a low mile, late model year version. This spec is pretty nice. It's a black on beige. The interior color is not that desirable. However, it does look clean. There are no tears in the seats. This does not have nav. Non-nav cars are usually going to go for a little bit less because of the lack of features, and no one really wants a non-nav car because it looks like this. So you can see this would be a good starting point. It's a 05, which means it has a 6-speed. It is a late model, so it's going to be more reliable. It's going to have less problems, and it's only 151,000 miles, which is surprisingly low for one of these. These can easily creep up to 300,000 miles if you maintain them correctly. And one thing I don't like about Facebook is that if I type in LS430, I don't want to see an RX400. I don't want to see a GS450H. I just don't understand. Like, whoever codes this needs to get it together. All right. Here we have a high mile example. 2005 high miles, 245,000. That's about as high as you want to get, to be honest, when going for these cars. 250,000 miles is a lot of miles. And one of these cars, even though it can last that long, it's probably going to have its fair share of problems once you get it this mileage. You probably need to do the timing belt. You probably need to do the knock sensors. You probably need to do the door lock actuators. You probably need to clean the MAF sensor. You probably need to do a lot of things, but relatively speaking, these cars have very few problems when compared to a German counterpart, an S-Class or a 7 Series. You know, these cars are very simple, right? These cars, because of their simplicity, they're not very exciting to drive. I'm gonna be honest; they're very slow compared to any type of modern-day sports car. These cars are very slow. Lexus tunes the throttle body to not open as fast as you push the gas pedal. If you actually take out the throttle body and you look at the flap as you hit the gas, you floor it, the flap opens like, instead of just opening straight up, it goes like, right? So these cars aren't that fast. They aren't that sporty to drive. Mine is on coilovers, so that improves the handling substantially, but it's still a slow car. It has legs. Don't get me wrong. When you get up in the RPMs, it goes, but it takes a while to get up there. I don't know if it's it's artificially managed, or maybe something's wrong with my car. I don't know. Drives fine, just takes a while to get there. As you can see, a lot of these facelifted models are getting scooped up because of how good they are. So we want to find a facelifted model. Okay, here's one. $6 grand, a little bit higher than what we want. We want something in the fives, but it is a 2005 with 131,000 miles. It's a low mile car. Again, not an ultra luxury version. It has these weird wheels on it, which means that I don't like Lexus LSs that don't come on stock wheels, because you just know that it's been fucked with. Interior doesn't look too bad. Oh, it does come with the stock wheels. I'm not sure why it's on these other wheels. Wheel bearings are going bad. That's another thing that goes bad in these cars, especially if you have one that's been customized, especially if you have one that's been lowered. The wheel bearings are probably shot. It's something that it really doesn't affect the driving experience besides the sound. It probably affect gas mileage slightly because of rolling resistance and stuff like that. But overall, if you find one of these cars with high miles, you're probably gonna have to do the wheel bearings. That's just a fact. Most people who buy these cars nowadays, they either do two things. They either want a good daily, so they want completely stock one, or they want one to VIP out. Most of the VIP ones are gonna go for a lot less just because they've been messed with when compared to the mods they actually have. Some of these have air ride and everything. They still go for like $6 grand. But on Facebook, I don't really see that many deals anymore. So y'all, right now the cheapest car that I see, correct me if I'm wrong, but is $4,500 for the cheapest one. I bought mine for $4,000 with 190,000 miles, which for a pre-facelift is a little high, but mine came on coilovers, came with wheels. Mine basically came VIP'd out. That's what I wanted. So in my mind, I got a pretty good deal. Here's one for less than $4,000. See, this would be a pretty good deal right here. This is clean. It comes as stock. Looks like it was well taken care of. It's a cool color. It's green. I do like dark greens. Interior is beige. Not really a fan of the beige, but again, this was made in a time where beige interiors were in style, but now it just looks like an old person spec. This is a nice car. It comes with stock wheels, relatively low miles for an 01, and they're asking under $4 grand. This would be a good deal for someone who wants a good daily, something that'll last for another 100,000 miles easy. and for a good price, less than $4,000, you could probably negotiate this down to at least $3,000. So $3,000 for an exceptional daily driver is a good deal to me. My favorite spec for these is facelifted with these 5 spokes. These 5-spoke wheels, especially if they're chrome, are highly desirable. They're gonna go way up in price. People are selling stock sets for $400 now. Watch, in about a year they're gonna be worth $600-700. This would be an example of a top of the line version, not a top of the line in terms of model year, but it is an ultra luxury package on a facelifted version. This is something highly desirable. You want this car right here. You want a facelifted version. You want the ultra luxury package. You want these wheels. The reason being why you want the ultra luxury package is because it comes with rear reclining seats. It comes with sunshades all around. It comes with a fridge in the back. It comes with a different suspension, as air suspension. Although if you want to get a car with air suspension, make sure that it works. A lot of these actually leak, especially with the pre-facelift models. If you get a pre-facelift ultra luxury package, you're probably gonna have leaky air suspension. These new ones aren't as bad, but they do go after a while if you especially if you raise and lower the car a lot. This has ultra luxury package. As I said, it comes with nav, backup camera, keyless start. It has a bunch of features that the pre-facelift ultra luxury doesn't have. So for $7,500, this would be a good deal if you could negotiate it down to around the 6s. You get it for like $6,100, $62 for $179,000 on a 2004 ultra luxury. That's a good deal. For mine, at least, I had a couple problems when I got mine. It ran really rough. It idled really rough. I got terrible gas mileage. I got like 13 miles to the gallon while driving around on the highway. So what I had to do was I had to clean the MAF sensor. I put a lot of Marvel Mystery Oil in the engine, and I put it in the gas tank, cleaned everything out. It gets around 20 now, 20 miles per gallon. It has the 5-speed, so it's not going to be that efficient. It is a V8. It is a small V8, and it doesn't work that hard, but it's still a V8, so you're going to expect to get in the teens, especially in the city. On the highway, though, I can get up to 25 usually if I'm going long distance, so 25 on the highway isn't too bad. Going over to Craigslist, I don't see that many deals on Craigslist. Here is a pre-facelift version for $4,200. We can take a look at it. It probably has a lot of miles, not too clean. As you can see, it has a lot of dings and dents and stuff like that. It's not clean at all. It's very dirty. 213,000 miles, $4,200. This should be worth around $3,200, maybe $3,000. It's a 03, so it's the latest of the pre-facelift. So in terms of quality, you're gonna get pretty good quality there. But I wouldn't say it's a good deal just because of how dirty it is. It wasn't really, not much thought was put into this ad. All right, 2001 for $5,000. As I said, these prices have been going up recently. People are starting to realize that they don't make cars like they used to. This is an example of something they don't make like they used to. The new Lexuses, they're nice, but they're not built to the same degree as these. These are tanks. They're going to last forever. These are going to go down in history as one of the most reliable sedans, and people are starting to realize. This one is an 01, first model year, only 115,000 miles. This would be something to buy if you want a good daily, something you don't have to worry about. Yeah, 115,000 miles. You have at least 150,000 miles left on this car. At least, if the timing belt was done, you have at least 50,000 miles before you have to do the timing belt again. So this would be something you want to get if you want zero problems. You want low miles, clean, and the price isn't too bad. $6,000 for low miles isn't too bad, but you probably want to get this down into the high 4s or low 5s. Again, this is another good example. It's not an ultra luxury. You can tell if it's ultra luxury if it has headlight washers. That's a quick way to tell. This is probably an ML because it has nav. It's not too bad. 146,000 miles. It is clean. It is an 01 though, first model year. You don't really want to get the first model year, as I said before, because that's when most of the problems occur. But it has 146,000 miles. It's not that many. For $5,000, you could get this down to mid 4s. That would be a good deal. Mid 4s, high 3s would be a solid deal for this. As I said, I don't really see that many deals on Craigslist just because people are being charged now to put ads on here, so people aren't using it as much, and it is very shitty UI. As you can see, it's very it's very basic, so I don't understand when people still use Craigslist. It's gonna probably die in a couple of years, to be honest. Going to Auto Trader, Let's change this. 50 miles. We want any distance. All right, we have some deals on Auto Trader. This one right here, this first car I see is a deal. This is a deal hands down, even without negotiating the price. $5 grand for an 04 with 160,000 miles. This is a good deal. The spec I'm not too sure of. This is a beige spec. It's not an ultra luxury, but it will be fine. It is a base model car. Again, if you bought this car, you'd want a good daily. You wouldn't have that many features in terms of nav or anything like that, but it is a good daily. It's low miles. It is a late model year, so you know you're gonna have the highest quality. It does have the 6-speed, so you know you're gonna get better gas mileage. This would be a good deal, good one to have in terms of starting out car if you want to build on this one, or if you just want to make it a daily. So on Auto Trader, I see a lot for less than $4 grand, which is a good sign. You want them to be less than $4 grand, especially walking out the door. And they're starting out less than $4 grand. You know you can get it for less than $3 grand. You want a facelift model if you're gonna buy one, because the pre-facelift model just have a lot of problems that you don't want to deal with. Speaking from experience, this is speaking from my experience. Get a facelifted model of any car, not even just the Lexus, of any car. Always get the facelifted model. Don't be me. We have another 2004 with 160,000 miles for $5 grand. So as you can see, there are deals to be had, y'all. You want to get a facelifted model, for less than $5 grand. That's really a deal right there. You don't have to go any further than that. $5 grand is about as low as you're gonna get with these. They're only gonna shoot up in the future. I'm calling it now. They don't make cars like these anymore. Okay, so this one is nav, so it's a good option to car. You want one with nav. It has the basic radio with the tape deck. Obviously, the CD thing is underneath. I actually have a whole conversion kit, so you can change this to a double DIN and still have nav. That's what I have in mind. It looks a little bit better. It rearranges the buttons a little bit, puts them on the bottom. Again, you don't want to get an ultra luxury with blown bags, because it's going to look like this. Right? You can be looking like you're driving a pickup truck in North Carolina. Right? You don't want to look like that. This is what happens when the bags get blown. It slouches. If you're going to get an ultra luxury, an early one, especially a facelifted ultra luxury, expect to be switching to aftermarket bags or coilovers in the near future, especially if you got a high mile version. All right, we're getting a little high in prices here. We're getting up in the 6s, but as you can tell, that there are a lot of facelifted versions that are under 6 with a reasonable amount of miles. This one is 188 for 6. Black car. Black cars are always going to be desirable, especially with these 5-spoke wheels. If you can get this in the 5s, this would be a good deal on its own. But yeah, black on black, always going to be a desirable spec. You're always going to make money on these when you sell them again. See, look, this has the actual thing I was talking about for the double DIN conversion. It relocates the buttons on the bottom, like I said. Let's see if they got a close-up picture of it. They got everything else. Come on. There we go. See, it relocates the buttons here. Scrolling down, we are getting out of our price range a little bit. We're getting above the 6s, but as you can see, there's even a late model year, the latest model year, 06 LS430 for under 6. Granted, it does have 240,000 miles, but again, these are deals that you can have, yo. These are out here. They're available to buy right now, and if you can negotiate properly, you can get one of these for a steal. In terms of the value you can get out of these cars, and later down the line, you can drive them for 10 years from now and they'll still be alright. Going on Car Gurus, this is where all the deals are going to be, but they're also going to be probably the shittiest examples of what you can buy. Let's go to lowest price first. Alright, we got some for under 3 grand. This one's under 2 grand, but it looks all beat up. So we got one for 2,900 with 250,000 miles. See, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. If you can get a pre-facelift version and you can find one that's been sorted out. Whoa. Never mind. I thought this one was an orange interior car, but it's not. These cars actually came with interior colors other than beige and black, surprisingly, right? They came with beige, black, orange, and red interiors. The saddle brown, the orange interior is my favorite. They're really rare to find. They look really good, and they're usually on black cars. You can't really find a beige car with like saddle interior, or a red car with saddle. It's usually on black. I really want to find a red on red car. That would be a unicorn. A red on red ultra luxury LS430 would be such a unicorn. It would be the pickup of a century, to be honest, in terms of LS430s. I'm sure there's one rolling around somewhere. I've seen a lot of red on red Lexus LS400s, but the LS430, I'm still looking for it. We got some deals. This one's $3,500 for a pre-facelifted non-ultra version. It's a little high, to be honest, especially with this many miles, 109,000. You can probably get this for like $3,000. You can do a little negotiating, get a good deal. It has a nice color. It is the blue on gold with the, I can't tell, black interior. So good spec, blue on black with the gold badges. Pretty desirable. People go for this stuff, especially the older crowd. They like the gold badges. It's kind of going out of style now, but definitely has its place. I don't see any facelifted versions on here for less than $4,000, which is to be expected. Car Gurus has some of the deals, but most of their cars are going to be regularly priced because they still have to cater to people who actually are trying to make money on their sales, or else no one will use their site. But here's what we saw on Auto Trader. There are a couple more in the mid fives. You can definitely get a good one in the mid fives, but as I said before, they're going fast, so you better pick them up. And going to eBay Motors. You know I don't like eBay Motors because of how high the prices are. Look at this, $5,900. Make an offer, classified ad price. They want $5,900, but they're trying to get more. Okay, none of these are in the threes. Not a single one. These are all newer models, of course, but I don't see a single LS430. Let's see, 2001. As we can see, no deals to be had here, yo. Stay away from eBay Motors unless you don't like leaving your house and you want a car delivered straight to your door, okay? Because you don't want to be paying over $7,000 for one of these, right? Now, granted, a lot of these are low mile examples. As I said before, people use eBay Motors to put their pride and joy online for sale. You know, they want to put their garage queens up. They want to get a good price. 69 watchers, 69 simps for this car. All right, an 06 LS430. I guess they're not simping. It's a low mile, facelifted, late model year, but $9,000. It's crazy, y'all. Don't do that. So basically, that's it. You want to remember that the biggest repairs on these cars are probably going to be the knock sensor, the starter, and the timing belt, only because those require the most parts to take off. Everything else is pretty straightforward. On mine, I had to replace the alternator, which is right at the bottom on the front. I replaced the belt as well too, so it wasn't that bad of a job. It took about an hour. You want to find one with low miles just because interior parts, it's a Toyota at the end of the day, so although it lasts a while, the interior does start to squeak and rattle after around 150,000 miles. Things start to loosen up a little bit, so you want to get a low mile car if you can, just for that reason alone. In terms of reliability, these cars will last for a long time. You just got to make sure you change the oil. You just got to make sure you do the timing belt, because if you don't do the timing belt and it breaks on you, your engine will grenade. You will have bent valves. You will have a host of problems. You will have so many problems that you probably need to get a new engine. Really, if you let the timing belt break, that is the Achilles heel of these cars, is the timing belt. If you let it break, you'll probably grenade your engine. 70 to 90,000 miles is the interval for timing belt, so make sure it has been done before you buy the car. Lastly, you want to make sure that it comes as stock as possible. You don't want a modified one unless you're like me and you want a VIP car. I bought mine just to be VIP, so if I found one that was already built for a good price, you might as well, right? You don't want to get a modified car if you're going for one of these. Most of them who are modified, or most of them that are modified, have poor mods, and they ride terrible. Mine doesn't ride that well, to be honest. It has coilovers and it is slammed, so it rides like shit. But the regular ones ride like a dream. Ones with air ride suspension, even the stock coils ride like a dream. So you want one that rides good. You definitely want to test drive these cars before you buy it. So that's it, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what car you think I should do next. I love doing this. I could do this every day. So let me know. All right, y'all have a good one.